All right, Konan, what's up, man? How are you
Dude,
today?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm stoked. I'm stoked to chat about webinars, about copy, about sort of the unnamed players in the space that are writing a lot of the stuff that many people might be seeing out there. And so let's get right into it. I don't even want to do an intro today. I just want to straight up ask you, like, what are you working on? What's going on in your world on the webinar side, on the copy side? Let's get right into it.
Been working on a few projects. One is a Kindle publishing project. That's already it's a webinar that's doing really, really well. We're doing about $3.5 million a month.
Okay,
Which,
okay.
yeah, so that's doing well. Another thing is an
Oh,
AI.
let's dig into that a little bit. Okay, so three and a half
Yeah,
million a month. What do you like? Break down that number for me for a second. Where's
yeah.
that
So
coming from?
yeah, so we have obviously we're like to get the audience an idea. We're spending at least $1 million a month. So hey,
Yeah,
it's not like super crazy, but um,
I mean,
it
no,
is
that's
a
crazy volume for sure.
yeah,
Because
but
this is info, right? This is info
yeah,
products.
yeah. So it's one to many B2C. So
Okay.
um, and so yeah, we're spending both on Facebook, so Meta, Google, YouTube primarily, and it's a mid-ticket offer, so it's a $2,000 offer,
Yep.
and it is strictly run via an automated webinar.
Love it.
Which and people nowadays think that like, oh, webinars are dead, right?
Right.
And if you think of like live webinars, they think think live webinars are dead, but we've automated it, right? And it's still crushing, right? Because
Yeah.
generally when you automate anything, it drops the conversion rate by 50%
Right.
normally, right? So it's like, how do you do that, right? So like that's
Yeah. So talk to me. So I mean, I'll nerd out on Webbies all day long, and I think a lot of the audience will as
yeah,
well. Like, so just in time, I'm assuming, right? Like
yeah,
sign
yeah,
up
right.
15-minute start
No,
time or something like
it's
that.
no, not even 15 minutes. So it's
Okay.
right away.
Right
Uh,
away. Okay. So it's like
yeah.
VSL, it's like VSL
Oh,
funnel, but packaged as a webinar, basically.
yeah, but we do have a waiting room page, which is
Okay.
basically like pre-sells the training. It's a 3-minute video that they watch about, hey, here's what you're about to learn,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Obviously, we add in like, hey, you're going to get these XYZ bonuses if you stick around, right? Which is often needed.
Yep.
And then they click one click straight to a webinar jam automated webinar.
Dude, freaking webinar jam. You can't get away from ever webinar in this space. You really
No,
can't.
no,
It's like everybody's least favorite software that still works, you know?
no.
Like it's up
If
there
it
with
ain't
like
broken,
goals and you're like, okay, well, I guess we got to use every webinar, you know? Because like
yeah.
I've tested the stealth seminars and there's a million other ones that people want to test and try, and it's all just ever webinar in a different skin. But if it works, why fix it?
Yeah, if it ain't broken, why fix it?
If it ain't broke. Okay, so just in time, people are registering from paid ads, and I'm assuming the engagement rates are pretty crazy on it if it's doing this much volume, because essentially to
Yeah.
sell a 2K from an evergreen, you're going straight to checkout page from that,
Yep.
right?
Yep. Yep.
And
Yep.
then is there any sort of like sales motion in that funnel? Like if they drop off on the checkout page, are they getting outbound like
Yeah.
sets or
So
whatever?
we do have a sales team, and there's also, so if they missed, they get an SMS plus an
Yeah.
email sequence. So we have a miss sequence. We also have, if they have seen the close, so like, and usually it's around 50 minutes. So if they stuck around 50 minutes, they get the close sequence. If they don't buy, there's a downsell that happens 3 days after,
Okay.
which is another version. It's like a mini webinar. So
Yeah.
think of it a long form VSL,
Yeah.
right? That just picks up everybody else, and then
Yeah.
whatever's left, the sales and emails do it. So it's like
So
we're
these
just
are these are leads. These are leads that attended but didn't buy, or
yeah,
just leads in general.
no, both. So
Okay. Yeah.
if they attended, so there's two different sequences. They have the scene close, and then
Yeah.
there's the missed, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, and then if they did not buy, they go straight to the downsell, and we just try to capture as many as people possible, and then from there we have other daily emails that like just get people back on the webinar as much as possible, because if they don't
Yeah.
learn, they won't buy. um
Yeah.
yeah.
So what do you think? What do you think the magic sort of like sauce is here to get this audience specifically to watch an auto webby? Because you open by saying like people think auto webbies are dead, and I'll say this: like we're spending $4 million a month on info brands right now, like across probably, 30 to 40 brands. So, some are spending a lot, some are spending a little. And if you would have asked me 3 years ago, what percentage of that is on auto webbies, I would have said 50% probably, you know what I mean? And now if you ask me today, maybe 10%, right? We have like 1 or 2 auto webbies that still continues to crush it. But I've definitely seen it's a lot harder to crack, in my opinion, because of market awareness, right? Like people know what it is now. So tell me why you think this one is still crushing.
I think it's more about the offer than like traffic or, like how to write webbies or stuff like that. It's just, I think the offer makes sense. It's like, it's new. And oftentimes like we've repackaged the offer. So just for the audience awareness, is a Kindle publishing offer. Most people know publishing.com maybe, and they went under and whatnot, but like this is a little different. This is more on the fiction side.
Yeah.
And so
yeah, it's different. It's not a biz op. It's not necessarily like a biz op offer. It's more so like a passion sort of like fueled offer. Like if you're a person that's thought about writing a fiction book, you're a different genre of person that's thinking about like writing a nonfiction to sell it, right? Or to like build credibility.
Yeah, 100%. And oftentimes like we've had to, and this is where my copywriting brain comes in, it's like we have to repackage what it is. Right. So often, like, we don't even say it's Kindle publishing. Right. So, like, oftentimes it's like I may go out and say, so one of the, like, the front end top of funnel thing we're using is we're calling it Amazon Zero. Or like, everybody's like, what the fuck is Amazon Zero?
Yeah. Right.
So, right. You've never heard it. You're like, I want to know more about it.
Right.
But basically, the essence is like, hey, it's 0 products. Right. It's 0 social media. It's 0 all this. Right. And we just call it Amazon Zero. And you just have the product as Kindle publishing.
Yeah.
Right. So it's one of the new ways we're getting crazy high ROAS, because like over time, like I think it's just like people think like, oh, once you write an auto webby, it's like it's good and it's always working. Like I think we all know there's ads and webbies and all that, they have a shelf life value. Yeah. And over time, like you just constantly have to edit. And then there's a lot of CRO that goes in and is involved in like looking at the first 5 minutes, which is usually the most important. The second would be the transition. The third would be the pitch, right? So, and then looking at like, okay, how is our checkout page converting? How is like, you'd have to look, especially at the traffic that we're running, like you just have to be on top of it. Oh,
for sure. With that volume.
Yeah.
So dude, what you said about like, sort of like the shelf life, I think is really important. I brought this up the other day actually with my business partner, because I think like info space people who like crack something, like they might have had an offer that worked in 2019, 2020, 21, 2021, 2022. And it was kind of easy in those days. Like if you were in the info space in those days, it was hard not to make money. It really was. COVID, especially. It's like, I don't know, man, it was like the glory days. Right. And people they figured out like a VSL that worked or a Webby that worked. And then even to this day, they're trying to milk it. It's like they're almost afraid to like rewrite the thing that worked, because it's like they have like PTSD of like when it didn't work, right? And I've worked with so many brands where it's like, dude, listen, I'm sorry to say this, but we have to change the webinar. We have to change the webinar. We have to test something else. I'm like, well, last time we changed the webinar, the lead quality was so bad and our sales team tanked and we had to, and they have like PTSD from it. So what you said, I think is totally like not only true, but also like it's super important that you have to constantly be on top of your go-to-market like strategy with the messaging itself, right? Like especially
a lot of people you see come in the space, launch an offer, and they do really well, and then a few years later you'll see them come up with a completely different industry and completely different niche, and I'm like, what the fuck? I thought you were the guy for this industry, right? So like,
no. That was just their get rich quick scheme, dude.
Right. So it's like I'm like, huh? So like, and oftentimes like it's the nitty gritty of the everyday. It's the sucking of testing 20% of your webinar, right? Like just driving 20% of the traffic to a new 5-minute intro or something, right? So it's like every week we do a new test. Yeah. Every single week.
So tell me what your big levers, like what are some of the, it can be for this brand or another brand, but like if you're looking at a Webby and you're seeing some of the stats like degrade a little bit, what are the big levers? Like you just mentioned one of them, but kind of like list out what you're going to go to first typically to get a big swing, like a big uptick in results.
I look at, I think as a copywriter, I have to do the job of A, the copywriter, and two, the market that's watching the webinar, right? So one of the first thing I do is I just audit the entire thing, right? So like I look at the ads. Is the ad congruent to the funnel? And is the funnel congruent to the webinar, right? And then within the webinar, is the offer congruent to the checkout page, right? Yep. And then is all the emails congruent to everything else, right? So it's the obvious atoms of like, does it even make sense? Because if I am confused, like there's 100% chance that a customer is it's 1,000% chance that a customer is confused.
They're confused. Yeah.
Then I look
and what's funny is that like when you get into a brand, you've probably noticed this. I definitely have. It's like, hey guys, why are the emails like this? And they're like, oh, we wrote those like a year ago and we're just still using the same ones. Like, wait. So you changed the funnel and you changed the offer, but you never updated the emails. And that's like the simplest thing in the world. But like these brands have like hired an agency over here to do this, hired a copywriter to do this, media buyer to do this, and no one ever talked to each other and like actually made it congruent.
Right. So it's always been hard. And it's like, okay, like, and then I'll look at like, okay, like what pains did I have while watching or going through the webinar or going through the ad, or where I even got distracted, or I would like, no, it should hook me through the entire face. So if you look at like how YouTube videos work, right? So like they just catch you. You watch a Mr. Beast video, you're like, if you stick around for a minute, you're watching the entire video. Yeah. Right. Because he just hooks you so well. And then you're in this lull zone of like, you're just watching. You don't even want to get off because your brain wants to get to the end.
You got to know what happens. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, I'm like, do they even have that? Right. Like it's the reduction of steps at times. So for example, like one of the biggest changes I made to this webinar when I first came in, and I looked at it and there was 4 steps. I'm like, why is it 4 steps? Let's make it 3 steps. Instant 500% increase. Small change.
Super small.
I just combined 2 steps.
Wow.
Right. And I just called it something else. And they're like, oh wow, like holy. So
you think it's part of like how you package things, right? And I've seen on your Instagram story, you've been posting some pictures from this book, right? One of the
I've recently been reading that because I've actually never read or gone through any of his stuff. So
you hadn't, this book was my first time also, actually. Like I've had we've run a lot of webinars for clients who have used his framework, right? Like to sort of like to write their webinars. And of course, like it's powerful, but I had never read it either. So it was funny when you posted it on Instagram, I was like, oh, I'm reading the book as well. But like, I think a lot of what he talks about is sort of like the packaging of information. And so even what you just said is super interesting, because it's like going from 4 points to 3 points doesn't sound like a big deal. But when you think of it in terms of like a packaging of information perspective, like it makes it more approachable to the prospect. Like they can stomach 3 steps more than they could stomach 4 steps, you know?
Oh, 100%. So, I think it's the like people hate wasting time. Like it's like a lot of copy, like especially when I go look at stuff or even review copy or review anything, I'm like, how easy it is for me to go through this. Right? Like how can I just make it simple for somebody? Right? Hence why like I don't even like nowadays, like I don't even use complex words in my copy. Right? Like it used to be like a huge passion. Oh, I must like read every word in the dictionary and see like what like crazy words that I could find to put in my copy so my clients could be impressed.
Right.
Nowadays I'm like, I better make this thing the dumbest thing in the world so even the dumbest would buy.
Right.
So it's
5th grade level or below. Yeah.
Yeah. It should be like, A, does it make sense? Like, do I understand what it is?
Yeah.
Do I know how to get it? Do I know where to click? Right? It's like the super simple stuff. And does the offer entice me? Like, can I see myself doing it? Yeah. Right? Like at times, like we'd have to like go look at testimonials, and there's a great email I wrote, which was like, why your proof sucks. Right? Or like why the way you're showing testimonials suck, because they would put the best people in there, right? And oftentimes that's what clients do. But I'm like, no, put dumb in your testimonials. Like if that guy could do it, I could definitely do it.
Right.
So it's like, so it's been this case.
Like,
it's like, wait, she did it, and she goes, huh? What? Like,
right.
I'm smart, right? And I've used that in my copy, which is it's been like, hey, like chat, like in my emails, especially in closed cart sequences, which is like, hey, like, look, you're going to be successful. It's a matter of when, right?
Yeah.
It's like either you do it later or you do it now. Like this, it's, the later versus now type of a close.
Mhm.
And there's a bunch of different closes, but I've used that. And it's like, hey, look, you're smart. You have the desire to be rich and be successful and be all these things. You're also smart enough to make this decision and know that you're better than your current mindset or the current, like, and they're like, oh, like, it's like, it gets them.
Yeah. Yeah, man, that's really good. It's like the relatability is super interesting. I think like people want to see results from someone that looks like them, right? Like I've thought about that a lot too. Like, and what we found actually is even like the brand face, right? Like because we run a lot of e-learning offers, and what you'll find is like on the back end, the customers of whatever course, it could be the exact same program, right? Go to market strategy, exact same. But if the brand face looks different, the entire customer base, audience, everything will look different as well. And kind of the most fun example of that is like even just doing a man versus a woman, right? Like just from the front end, you can completely see everything change downstream in the funnel simply because women are going to relate with women, men are going to relate with men primarily, not always. But like that sort of small tweak changes the perception of who this is for. And like you said, it's like if I see a testimonial from somebody who's like better than me, smarter than me, or someone I perceive to be better or smarter than me, I'm not going to think that I can do it because I have, maybe not me. I have kind of a big ego. I can do whatever I want, you know what I mean? But like most people are going to be like, hey, I can't relate to that person. They're probably better than me, so I probably won't get the results that they're going to get, right?
What if I told you that racism exists?
Hey, man. I'll say I've run enough ads to know that that's true.
So it's one thing I tell my our clients, and they're like, you may believe whatever you want to believe, but what if I told you that people buy from people that they like?
Exactly.
Or that look like them. So oftentimes, like even in testimonials or even in webinars or even VSLs or even ads, can we diversify? Right. At times, like we've launched offers where we'd go get influencers, right? So we'd pay influencers a lot of money to launch these big launches. And it'll be like $1 million a day, $3 million a day, $5 million a day, $10 million a day. But we'd get influencers that have a certain part of the audience that we haven't cracked. It is one of the quickest, easiest, fastest way to like just inject a boatload of cash into your business. And
now even more like on the ad side, like to geek out on like the actual ad algorithm for a second, if you can get partnership ads to work with those people, you like the whole Advantage Plus, like Meta, Andromeda, all that stuff. Right now, it uses really heavily audience signals from your page. So if you're stuck in a rut in your ad account and you're like, man, the same people keep engaging and we can't seem to get out of it, one of the quickest ways to get out of it is to do exactly what you just said, which is get partnership ads going with a page from somebody who's different from you, right? Or looks different or has a different segment of the audience, because now you're getting credibility from their audience, and your pixel and everything is learning from, a whole new group of people.
This past month, I would say a month and a half, has been interesting on the Facebook side of things, right? So it's like it's been a lot of new tests, a lot of just different types of creatives rather than hooks. So it's like for some clients, it's like it is done well, but for others, they're like, oh, what the fuck is going on? The CPMs, they have to learn a brand new like approach. Right. And I'm having to like, for most that don't understand media buying, I'm having to like teach them about like, hey, this is what's going on, how the algorithm is changing. Also, we're in the season where, so I'm primarily in the info space, right? So like around this time of the year, it's very hard. So we have to launch. What I like to do is like I like to launch backend offers, right? So like we did two one was actually 2 days ago. So one was on Wednesday where. For the same client that we're running the Kindle Publish thing, we launched a backend offer and immediately booked 600 sales calls in 1 day.
Jeez.
So, it's like, I'm like, okay, how can I make, because like right now, ads are kind of, especially for info.
Yeah. Q4 is tough, man. Q4 is if you can survive Q4 and info, you're doing a great job.
Yeah. So it's how can I help them add an additional $500 million in a week? That way they can and obviously, especially when an info company becomes bigger, they have coaches, they have staff, they have so much overhead, and plus you're looking at this like steep ad spend. They're like, oh, so it's like, how can I help them add? And we do mainly do it through events, right? So like we launch a 1 day thing, right? Where, so like, for example, like one of my clients, they're not as big, but we took their high ticket offer, we discounted it by 40%. It was like 9,800. We made it 5,600. And we're like, hey, we're launching this ad. And we sent it to the email list. We retargeted everybody on the ads and whatnot. And they did this event and made an extra 500K that month. Right?
Yeah.
So like, quick, how can you do something like just to like get through Q4?
Yeah,
right?
I mean, like a promo that feels Black Friday-ish, or sometimes can kind of align, but it's just like a new skin on the same offer, or it's like a, totally. I was talking a couple of weeks ago about like the price increase promo that I like to do in the fall, which is like, hey man, we're raising prices in January. You're on the list, so you can grandfather yourself in. You know what I mean? Those little things work because, like, to your point, CPMs are going to be higher. Costs are going to be higher on info. It just will happen in Q4. Like, it's unavoidable. But if you can go to market with some sort of a new reskin on your offer or your, go to market strategy in some way, you'll get at least a little increase. Backend offers are the best way to do it. Let me give you a challenge though. What if they don't have an email list? Let's say it's a smaller brand. They're just starting, like their ads are working, but they're going into Q4 and like it's volatile. What should they do in that point?
Can they get partnerships or referrals with somebody else, right? So like that's one way. 2, launch something for free. Right. So it's like you do free stuff rather than like, hey, we have this paid thing, you don't have to join this program, whatever, right? So like it's like, who can I partner up with, right? And grab their audience. And one of the best persons who've ever done that is Russell. Like I've seen him actually do it, and he would spend and guys, we're talking about Russell Brunson. Like people may like anyway. They'll know. One of the things he would do is just lock himself in a room and it won't come out for 4 hours until he got like 20 people to say yes to like jumping on an event with him or something. And hey, like we'll share our list or we'll share this, right? Or whatever, right? Like we'll just share 50-50 or whatever it is, right? So like that's one of the easiest, quickest ways to just get somebody
just affiliate traffic sources. Like find somebody that you can give them a win by adding value to their community. Like, because in this case, if you don't have a list, you don't have, like, you're just starting out, what do you have that can add value to their community, basically, is what you have to you have to call and pitch yourself.
Right? That's where the work is, but it works. It genuinely works, and it may not work with the first person, second person. This is kind of like sales, right? So it's like, but like you're building partnerships, and that will grow over time as you get better, right? And for those that said no, just tell them, watch me. Give me a year. Right? So like they'll want to get.
I'll call you back in a year. We'll see where we're at.
Yeah. So
that's cool. Yeah, no, I agree. That's a great strategy. Yeah, and I also agree. Like if paid is still like the primary source, like free stuff, lead magnets, like challenge funnels, like a week long sort of challenge funnel, something that where you can offer just free, because that's how you build trust with a paid audience, even in the world of like Q4 where they're not buying as much potentially for themselves. You're building enough trust to where in January, when info picks back up again, you have a really clear path to conversion.
So from now till New Year's, like most people are thinking, like most people plan New Year's on New Year's or before in December. No, it needs to start planning now.
Oh yeah.
So it's like, and that may include Black Friday, whatever, but like the ramping up starts now, not December. Right. Yeah. So it needs to like, hey, like you need to get people on a wait list or get people on like this. How can I, at the end of the day, like, how can I get more attention? Right. So like for most info businesses, that's what they lack. And oftentimes when they become big enough, new lead ratio percentage becomes lower and lower because their ads constantly target the same old people. Right. At times. And it's like, you just have to like find ways to grab new audiences, right? So it's like, okay, like you partner up with people, you run different ads, you have different people. Heck, like you go pay some UGC creators or pay influencers to record ads for you. And just like, how can I capture certain parts of the market as much as possible? At least that's what I've seen work.
No, dude, for sure. And even with your like Kindle offer that you guys are doing right now, like that, I'm sure when you're spending, $1 million a month on that, you're probably starting to see that new lead percentage drop, right? You're probably starting to see a lot of the same people hit. So what is, I guess here's, I know what my answer for this is. I'm curious to hear what you think. What is sort of the cap? I mean, that's a pretty mass market offer for info, right? $1 million a month is, like, I've seen a lot of info brands. That's getting up there, right? Especially in an auto webby format. What do you think the next steps for a brand like that would be to diversify exactly what you just talked about?
You go international. So we've been primarily US, most of it. So like now you start marketing to other GDP countries, as much as possible.
Tier 1 English speakers first, probably, right?
100%. And then obviously you guys, I don't want to get into the nitty gritty, but like
you don't have to spoil the strategy. You don't have to spoil the strategy, but I agree with you there. What I would think, and I have no knowledge of what you guys are doing, so this isn't a spoiler, but what I would think is diversifying the like top of funnel, like funnel, really, like the offer, right? Like, because for me, if it's an auto webby into a straight 2K, and now I have this whole other portion of the audience that the pixel's not hitting right now because I'm probably optimizing for purchase with that campaign, right? You're getting enough volume at that spend that you're probably optimizing for purchase. You can kind of see the front end revenue, you know what your upsells are in the back end, whatever, but you're missing an entire section of the audience that might opt in if something were free or if it were like a lead optimized event, right? And so, because what I've seen is basically, especially now, Meta's getting really good at understanding who will do what actions deep funnel. So it's like, if I had a lead magnet that I knew added enough value and a setter team that could nurture those people into some sort of a purchase, that might open up a whole other section of the audience if I have a process to sell to those guys, right? That's where my brain would go, because essentially I don't see the ad account, but I see a lot right now. And I know frequency is probably driving up, cost per new lead is probably driving up, and at scale in Q4 especially, one little shift can make a big difference. And so maybe a new funnel might be something there too.
No, I agree. No, I think with a lot of like, say I go to like a new prospect that has been like really successful. Yeah. It is my job to see like, okay, how can we make new money? Out of thin air. Right. Because at the same time, like for some clients, they are already successful. They already have a VSL that's crushing, or already have a webinar that's crushing, and 9 out of 10 times we want those clients because they're just easiest to work with, and and it's really easy to get quick wins. But like one of the things, say like, for example, like one of the clients we work with is they have a really successful VSL that's been working, but I'm like, okay, like, do you have a challenge funnel? Do you have a low ticket funnel? Do you have paid upfront, low ticket, right? Like you're just capturing different people.
Right.
So it's been working really well.
I mean, that's dope. Okay. So tell me this. I want to pivot. You guys do a lot of email, right? Like a lot of.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to know, like, because I think email is one of those things that info brands do really poorly. Personally, I believe that. Because I've worked with some, like, dude, we've onboarded info brands before who are crushing it. Like you just said, maybe they'll have a VSL funnel that's working or whatever. And they have this list that's growing every month by 5,000, 10,000 new contacts. And they never email them. Like they might set up a drip sequence once at the beginning as like some objection handlers, maybe pivot like CTAs to a book a call or something, but they don't have anything regular that like is novel at all. Like they literally don't think about email at all. Tell me, like, in that state, like if you came into a business that had no email set up and you were like, all right, here's what we're going to do. What would be like the first way that you're going to attack the email list, basically?
I think it's looking at like, okay, like, well, two things. A, how big is the email list?
Let's call it 50 grand plus.
Okay. Like, and 50, how often
50,000 people, I mean. More than 50 grand revenue, hopefully.
Yeah, and how often they need, or how often are they currently emailing? Because the last thing Google
they have a drip sequence, but they're not sending out broadcasts.
Okay, so the last thing Google wants to see is, hey, you're sending 300 people an email a day because it's through a drip sequence, to you sending email to 50,000 people right away. It's the quickest, shortest way to like have your deliverability get shut down.
Yep.
So that's one of the key things, I think. So we start off very low. It's like, okay, like we're just going to go give value, have a lot of replay emails or reply to get XYZ free gift and whatnot. So Um,
And you're going to
that's one of
segment the list out probably to start.
Oh
What
yeah,
would be the
100%.
ways? How would you think about segmenting a big list like that if you're just going for,
We look at last 90-day clickers, last 90-day openers, last 30-day openers. So like we really segment it a lot.
Yeah. And try your whole goal at the beginning, I'm assuming, is for whatever you send to get opens and clicks. Right? Like keep that high, because then deliverability isn't going to get tanked, because essentially they see this as high quality email, right?
Yeah. Yo, question? Can we pause or no?
Yeah.
I have to get a charger.
All right. There we go.
So,
we're back. Conan's computer almost died, so it's okay. We're good. We're back. All right. So tell me this. So you're going to be parsing out the list. So you're going to be parsing out the list into smaller sections that hopefully are going to convert on email. What is that like? Tell me more, because this evades, like, if an info brand is watching this, they're probably not going to do the hard work of actually doing what you're saying. But like, I want them to know like the science behind getting email ramped up, because I think it just evades most people, honestly.
Yeah. So you want to start off by obviously the segmenting starts off, and then you start off with value with reply email. So what I like to call it is lead magnet emails or whatever, right? And the entire goal is to make a bulletproof domain reputation. Like that's one of the first things we do, because like if I'm going to start sending emails to 30, 50, 100,000 people, I want Google to see that it's a slow ramping up. And by people replying to get like these lead magnets, they're becoming contacts, right? So now Google's like, oh, okay, cool. He's cool. People are applying. We're just having a normal conversation. There's nothing too salesy in these emails. Like it's very simple, easy. People are clicking the links. People are replying. Yeah. Cool. And the key number I like to go is like, I want at least 1,000 people to reply, right? It really depends on list size, but I'm getting a lot of people to engage. And then slowly it's like, okay, like by email 7, email 8, email 10, I'm slowly starting to putting like other, like, hey, go watch this YouTube video, go watch this thing, go watch this training, click here, get this thing, right? So it's like, and then a segment based on the sales process, right? So you have the people who will receive the daily emails, right? Which is like, hey, like here's what the sales process. So for example, I need them to go through this VSL in order for them to understand what works. If they have watched the VSL, it tags them, right? So it's like watch VSL, boom, cool. Yep. Then I'm like, do they know the offer? So if they visited the offer page, there's another tag, right? So it's very, there's a lot of segments when it comes to email, right? And like you gotta be, like one thing I like to say is like, hey, you gotta have, especially nowadays, is personalization in email.
Yeah.
Right. Because everybody just has this list and they'll just want to like write one email to this big list and just look at like everybody as the same. And it doesn't really work properly, which means we have to write a lot of emails, which means we need to create different sequences. And just a lot of brands just aren't doing that. They're too lazy to even look at that. They're too lazy to even put tags in place. Right. So it's like, it's like they just want like, oh, because we have a nice VSL that's working really well, like we're enriched. No, you're missing out another 30% of revenue.
At least, right? Dude, like in some cases more, like they're essentially paying for leads and then never doing anything with the leads unless they buy. Yeah. And I mean, you're talking about like a 2% lead to close percentage on a lot of these high ticket funnels, right? So there's 98% of people in your list that just want some more value or some interaction before they're going to buy. So what you're saying is just putting in some actual work on the email list might actually work, which is kind of a novel concept.
It's I mean, like knowing how to and knowing breaking down your sales process and all that, right? I think oftentimes like people have a great VSL webinar, whatever, and they have a great sales team, right? So like that's great and like cool, like they're picking up where people are leaving, but like the email SMS as well is where not only where you capture a lot of sales, you also like get them to re-engage or stay in the loop, right? Because I have a huge theory that, and I tell clients this, if they're not buying from you, they're probably buying from somebody else and they're definitely emailing them.
For sure.
And I'm like, you need to be in front of them every single day, perhaps twice a day, right? So like one of the key things we do for clients is we email twice a day, right? And then the first email is a little broad, but like second email is to our clickers, right? And it's a very VIP-ish.
I love that, dude. That's so smart. It's like, it's essentially, yeah, it's giving people what they want, because like the clickers just want more, right?
Yeah,
Like
100%.
so you're not over inundating them. You're essentially just like giving them what they want, which is more engagement or
Right.
interaction from the brand. Yeah.
100%. And then there's like, we send out like a newsletter style, like huge, like a once a week, we send out like this long newsletter of what's happening in the market, depending on what market they're in,
Yeah.
just to get the audience to be educated. And I think anybody who's running a high ticket offer knows that if somebody comes on a sales call educated, the sales rate goes skyrocketing.
Oh yeah.
Right. If they watched a video, read something, done something, right? Like, it's like, you just like, salespeople love that, because they're like, holy shit, like this person came ready. They know about the offer. They're like, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Easy.
So,
no, dude, that's so true. So what would you say, like, what would you say the percentage between like value emails and like CTA emails? What's like the sweet spot there? So I like, there's like the Gary V framework, right? Like where it's like jab, right hook sort of thing, right? And a lot of people I see do this wrong. They basically make a CTA. They, like what you just said, they broadcast to the whole list twice a week and they make a CTA every time. It's like, here's a testimonial, now book a call, right? And it's like, obviously that doesn't work at scale. So what do you guys see work from a percentage standpoint?
So there's two arguments here, right? Whereas one argument is like, why write an email if you're not going to make money off of it because they're paying you?
Sure.
Right. And then the other argument is like, hey, give value. So jab, right hook, and then ask.
Right.
And I'm torn between two worlds, because some of the biggest lists I've written for and still write for, we do CTA every email.
Mm-hmm.
And then for other clients, I don't. Right. So it's a mix. Now, what I've seen work better is a mix. Right. Yeah. So it's like, at times we do value email, but there's what I like to call a super signature, right? Yeah. Which is basically, hey, whenever you're ready, here are the three ways we can help. One is by you watching this VSL. Yep. Two is by you grabbing this free lead magnet. Three, if you're ready and talk about our insert academy name, insert main coaching program, go talk to a person here.
Yeah, here's a book. Here's a book call link. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, that has worked really well.
Makes sense, dude. Yeah.
So,
because you're adding value enough to where now they're finally ready to make that. And I mean, like, dude, it takes 7 touch points at least for people typically in a buyer journey. And if, if that is one of those, why can't email be the other 6, right?
And then sometimes I'll just add like a PS, like, hey, like, here's what you'll feel like after you've like done or gotten one of these things. And it'll be like a meme that said like Lightning McQueen or something. It's the funniest thing in the world. But like, dude, you build such a great relationship with the audience, the people that are like, oh wait, he's real, he's funny, there's humor involved. There's this email list is not boring.
Like someone's actually writing this.
Right. So it's like, it's not written by AI. Like, yo. Right. So it's like, they're so bored of like this AI stuff. It's like, oh my God, it's just like this email does not feel like copy and paste.
Yep. Okay. So you said AI, so we might as well ask the question. What, you don't use AI? Or
no,
I mean, be honest with me. Huh?
No, of course I use AI.
Yeah, right. So tell me how you guys use it. I mean, like everybody uses it, but I think a copywriter using AI is one of those, I don't know, it's a taboo subject, right? Because it's like, how do you use it, right?
Yeah,
so here's your approach.
Mostly for grammar.
Hey, fix my issues, please.
Yeah, no, it's well, 2 things. A, we use it for research a lot. Yeah. We never have AI write anything tangible. Not a VSL, not a webinar. It just can't. I don't even know if it's going to go write a 2-hour-long thing. I don't even know if it currently has capacity. If somebody does, please let me know. But I don't think it does.
You can do it.
Probably.
Might not be great, but it can happen.
So I use it for a lot of research. I use it for a lot of, like I said, grammar. I use it for a lot of editing. But the most I've used it for is like, hey, here's my winning copy. And I've given it all based on the research I've done, based on the things I've written for a certain market. It has to be specific to that market. Right. And then I'm like, what am I missing?
Yeah.
Like, say you were this customer, what am I missing? Right. So like, it's more of like an assistant rather than a writer. You
it's
never
like a
want
pretty perspective. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. So it's like that's the main way I've been utilizing it. I've never have it write my stuff because I don't think it can.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Often I may ask like, hey, how can I make this more simpler? Or how can I make this in a fifth grade level? Like, what am I missing where people would get confused? Right. So a lot of the writing, it's like, okay, like, how can I make it more valuable? How can I make it more simpler, easier? Am I having any grammar mistakes? Right. Which is huge because like we're humans. We're gonna like it's oftentimes I don't like to call it copywriting. It's often copy editing. Right. So it's because most of the work is done in editing, not the writing part. Right. People think the greatest copywriters are, oh, they just have this grand idea of knowing what to write. No, it's a lot of research and it's a lot of editing. And that's what happens. Like you can see the difference between somebody who has like a really winning copy. They've just done more research than you and they've done a lot more editing. And then the last thing is they've just done more testing.
Yeah. Right. It makes sense, dude. Yeah. It's like, it's essentially like, I think that the missing piece for a lot of copywriters is the data. It's like they don't know what questions to ask from the media buying team or from like, they just don't know what to look for to understand, is my copy actually like working?
Well, one of the things I love to do, especially when I go write for anybody, I'm like, can I interview some of your customers? Because at times you'll realize that most of the ad copy, most of the webinar, most of the VSL is going right above their head. Right. But when I talk to a customer, a client, a prospect, right, interview them, a few of them, the stuff, the ammo, I like to call it ammo, the ammo I will have to write a good sales letter or write a good ad is so much more powerful than any research I may do to how good of a copywriter I've been because I have all these winners, whatever. No, I go to the source.
Yep.
Because that guy has the money that I want. Like I want him to like give me the money. So like, why not ask him?
100%, dude. In like quick email to your customer list with a survey, like a Google form.
Oh,
right.
Dude.
The best data you can possibly get. It's like, okay, great. Why did you buy? What other programs were you looking at when you bought this one? Right. Like questions that people forget to ask, but it's like, actually, if I had that data from all of my customers, I could write the best copy in the world. And also, speaking of AI, like that's the type of stuff you can feed AI and get incredible insights from as well. Because it's just data analysis that takes way too long for one person to probably do. But yeah, dude, I completely agree. Surveying customers, like another thing that I like to do, I'm sure you do this as well, go on Amazon and look at reviews for books on the topic of the thing that we're talking about, right? And it's like, what do people like and not like about the current market offerings here? And how can I position mine as the thing that fixes that problem?
I think it comes back to the laziness of the person that's doing the writing. And I kid you not, a lot of copywriters are lazy. They may be really good, they're just lazy.
A lot of people are lazy. Dude, most people are lazy.
I call it you're a unicorn if you can work hard as a copywriter.
Yeah. Honestly, pretty true. Yeah, pretty true. But it's the same for ad buying. It's the same for marketing in general. I mean, like, because at least in the agency space, what I find is my secret weapon, which is not secret at all, is that I show up every day and sit in this chair for 9 hours and I do the work, right? Because like what happens is you have a guy that blows up in copywriting or in ad buying or starts an agency and they make some really good money and they're like, yeah, you know what? I'm good. I'm just going to like get a team to do this stuff now. And then everything falls apart. I mean, you watch it happen, right? Like their standard of living goes down, their reputation goes down, whatever. And they just don't sit in the chair and do the work. They'd rather like jet set around or be, get their Lamborghini or whatever it is. And I'm not saying that that's the wrong lifestyle. It's good for them. That's fine. But as your point stands, it's like, if you will actually just do the work in marketing, especially, the results are insane over time. It compounds, right? Like,
yeah, good marketing requires work, as I always say. It's just like, dude, like, here's the thing. Like, I think it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, you've seen these guys who would come in the space, make a few $1 million. Then their business goes under because they haven't done enough work, because they've got complacent. They got the penthouses, they got everything, right? But now they're selling AI. So a lot of like what I see right now is like everybody's selling AI. Why?
Yep.
Because it's the new hottest thing.
It's an easy
Right.
thing. Yeah. Easy
So
button.
it's like this, the girl in the red dress. So as soon as the new one comes around, they'll do that, and then as soon as the
Yeah.
new one comes around, they'll do that. So it's like,
Yep.
but what's more rare is, can a business sustain over a long period of time, right?
Yep.
And that's like, from my perspective, especially from the copy end, it's like, can I write something that isn't just because of current events or current market? Can it survive in the harshest markets? So, like, for example, the Kindle offer that I was talking about, it's been alive for over 7 years, constantly improving over time. Yeah, I have this concept of floors and ceilings, right? And within that floor ceiling, yeah, we may go like this, but as long as over time we're going up like this exponentially, we're winning.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what I like often look to achieve, especially when I'm writing, right? Because I don't want one hit wonders and then it just goes to, right? And oftentimes,
do you vet the offer before you work with somebody?
100%.
And
Dude,
what's
like,
that process look like? Because I do the same, right? I'm like, hey man, I've been in the space long enough to have seen day traders and freaking, Amazon FBA store affiliates go, and get hit by the FTC and whatever. Like, I've seen that enough to know a scammer from pretty far away. But I'm curious, like, what you're like, what do you kind of look at?
Is there a lot of desire in the market for such offer? So one of the new offers, I just signed a client in the fertility space.
Dude, yeah.
And
I was exploring that last year, so that's cool.
Really? Okay. Yeah. So I'm like, that's a lot of desire I can market. Huge. Like, and this is something
and it's a real problem too, right?
Oh yeah, 100%. And I'm like, then I go to look at domains, and guess what? I've found fertilitysecrets.com. And I love that. And it was $800. I'm like, I told my client, go buy it. I'm not gonna buy it. I'm not gonna screw you over, but go buy it.
Right.
They're like, why? I'm like, if you don't, I will buy it.
I'll have to send you the list of ones that we bought last year, because
we
bought a few. They might be. We're not exploring it actively anymore. We're looking at publishing a brand in there, and we're like, it's kind of a shiny object for us right now. But
I'm like, if you care enough to be in this market for a long time, I would argue that you'd buy it and someday write a book on it. But go get that now. And they did, and they're grateful for it. But like, it's offers that I see huge potential in, right? And especially not from the client perspective. Like, obviously they'll need to work and whatnot, but more so from the market. Like, is that market in need of an offer as such as this? So, for example, fertility is huge, and I think it's growing.
Oh, for sure it is. Well, the infertility rate's growing, which is essentially needs a solution, right?
Right. And I'm like, holy fuck, like this is cool, right? So like, this is like, I can tap into.
That's a fun one where it's like a, not only is it like an actual issue, but also like there's so many angles you could attack it from, because like birth rate is another angle. So like you can almost even take it from like you can change people's mindset and perception around having children with the ads themselves, right? Or 100%. You could just straight up attack the problem with a solution. But there's like so many methods to it. And it's so mass market. I mean, it's huge.
100%. And this is where like I feel like I get a little dangerous, because any great copywriter knows how he can screw over the world just by writing a few words.
Oh, for sure.
And part of me is very fascinated about that when it comes to copywriting. Hence why like that's the reason I got into copywriting, because it just fascinated me. Yeah. To the point where like just words fascinate me. Like, it's like the way it's structured and the things that are said and the things how they're put together. It's just been a thing. Like, it's like most people are like, like they have a vice of, drinking or gaming or whatever. My vice is like, I want to learn what words psychologically fuck people over at times, or like what moves people, right?
Art of persuasion.
Yeah, it's been.
I mean, yeah, just look at like the cigarette campaigns, of like early admin days. Like, dude, crazy! It changed the entire culture of the country.
Actually, so I love the good old like the Camel ads or the Marlboro ads, but like one of my favorite ones is have you ever seen the Pepsodent ad or no?
I don't know that. I don't know.
So yeah, so it's you know how like nowadays like brushing your teeth is like the norm. Yeah. Right. But that didn't used to be back then. Right. So like now you see like everybody, but if you don't brush your teeth, you're called nasty. Right. So I forget who wrote it, but so basically what happened is during the World War One, right? Soldiers would come back and they would have rotten teeth,
Right.
and especially people like they didn't really care about hygiene as much. I don't know, people do a lot now, but like they would have rotten teeth, and this toothpaste company wanted to get people to brush their teeth, and they ran every campaign, try to push it. They're like, hey, we're gonna mix these potions and whatnot to make your teeth look clean, and nobody gave it.
They're like, we don't care about.
They're like, but then one copywriter comes along and he does an extensive research on like teeth cleaning and whatnot, and there's plaque that grows on your teeth if you don't brush your teeth, and he called it the film, right? Like the film over your teeth or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And rather than making it more about the teeth cleaning thing, he made it about beauty.
Right.
Right. So it's rather than being about cleaning, it's like, hey, like, no, if you're a woman or if you're a guy, right, if you use this and if you do this and you have clean teeth, you will get approached by more women. You will look more beautiful. Like it made it. Yeah. It's just like, oh shoot. So he just, and the way to do that is by using Pepsodent toothpaste.
Right. Right.
Mind blowing. It's like
reframe completely. Yeah.
Right. It's
nobody cares about cleaning. Cleaning sucks. That's a bad thing. I don't want to talk about cleaning.
Right. But now you're like, oh wait, I'm gonna look more beautiful, and
people will like me.
Yeah.
Instant. I know, man. It's crazy. It's one of like the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? It's like you're working, if you can incorporate that into your copy, or I don't know if you've read Cashvertising before, great book, but there's the Life Force 8 in there, and I think one of those is like the desire for sexual companionship. So it's like you play into that instead of, do you want to be clean? Who cares about that? No, it's, do you want people to love you? Well, here's a product that'll accomplish that for you.
One of the greatest things I've ever learned from Dan Kennedy is sexualizing your ads.
Yeah.
Put hot blonde woman in front of your ads. Yeah, they will work. I promise you.
Well, CTR will go up. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Like, no, they used to like tell these clinics. Well, like so many people don't know this. I've been to his house. We've hung out together. He bought me Subway, and one of the ads he was showing me was how it was a dental practice or whatever, where on the ad, so he's done a lot of offline marketing. Yeah, so like everybody's in this online stuff. He showed me a lot of offline stuff, where on top of right next to the headline, he'd put 3 hot blonde women, right? And they're like, it just captures like attention, right? Because like even the blonde hair, because the color, it just captures attention, right? And people are willing to come in. But then you walk into the office and there's a blonde woman sitting in front. They're like, like it's the concept of how can you put addiction, and this may be getting a little dangerous out there, but like, guys, like, be careful with this, like, don't abuse it. But how can you utilize desires, addictions, vices in your ads?
Well, I think it comes back to it's the identity too of people, right? Like not even playing into addiction. It's more so like there are people who self-identify with certain things, right? And so like when you put something that they self-identify with, like coffee, for example, right? Like if you have a cup of coffee every morning, coffee is a way that I can build trust with you, right? Because I know that coffee is really intimately part of who you are, because I'm addicted to coffee. So like we can bond on that, right? And so it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Sometimes it is, right? Like you said, like it could be a dangerous thing, but it's a perception of like, oh, he gets me because he knows the stuff I like, right? Which that's speaking to the like core identity of people.
Right.
They might not know that that's part of who they are, but it is, and you're tapping into it. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And part of me, like when I say addiction, all these things, it's just to grab attention.
Right. No, for sure.
The key word or the key thing to note is you genuinely want to care for the person on the other hand. Like the goal is not to screw them over, okay? Like that's why I call
you about how you vet programs, right? Because like it's the same for me, right? Like you're going to use these marketing tactics to get people in, and there's a line of like there's an uncrossable line, but at the same time, if you know what you're selling on the back end is something that will help them, then you should feel good about using persuasive techniques to get people there, right?
There's also 2 arguments to be made here, because oftentimes what people need is not what they want.
Right.
And oftentimes the need market falls flat to the wants market because
Mm.
we often have to advertise the things that they want so we can give them the things that they need.
Right.
Right. So it's kind
Yep.
of like hard at times for me as a copywriter at times, because like, where do I bridge that gap?
Yep.
Right. It's because like I know what will get attention, I know what will get clicks, and I know what will get purchases. And
Right.
I know how to string that together in a sales letter, in a VSL, in a webinar, whatever else.
Yep.
Do I trust the client enough to give them what they need?
For sure, dude. Is the fulfillment there? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good, dude. That was a good string of logic. And I think like and being an ad guy myself, like that is always the piece where it's like, I won't work with offers anymore. Now I have the benefit now of being I can pick and choose who I want to work with, which is great.
Sure.
It didn't used to be that way. I used to say yes. I mean, I feel like when you're starting off, you have to say yes. You got to build some revenue. But now, like at this point, I'm like, okay, if you approach me and you have, hey, I love you, all you Amazon FBA people out there, but like if you're trying to sell some Amazon FBA course, I'm gonna just say no. And the reason is because I've seen too many fulfillment problems with models like that. I'm not saying you might not be able to do it. Like maybe you have the best one that's ever existed, but still there's a good percentage of people buying your program and getting let down. And that on the back end makes me feel bad as a marketer because I can't go with full confidence to the market.
I hate trickery.
Yeah.
I hate bait and switch.
Exactly.
Which works great in marketing, but it's like I just hate it.
You don't want to be catfished by your ads,
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
You really don't.
Yeah,
that's true, dude. Okay, so tell me this. We'll wrap up a couple of thoughts here with. I just want to know, like, rapid fire a couple of things. So first off, if you've made it this far in the video, you can see that Konain's a rock star when it comes to copy. I mean, he's crushing life, crushing the game.
I'm okay.
He's your guy when it comes to copy. That we were chatting earlier about how he's 6 years younger than me, and I sort of feel like a failure now just having a conversation with him, because 6 years ago I was not having conversations that were this complex about marketing. But that's pretty dope because I'm looking forward to see what you do in the next 6 years. But okay, tell me this. Tell me a copywriter that you respect, but you see things totally different than. Could be an advertiser, could be, one of these big names.
I don't know. I think the two big names that are often that put out controversial copy is Abe Ben-Settle, who's like the king of the email world. If you learn email, you go to him.
Okay.
But if you read his copy, it's very direct. It's very aggressive. It's very I think the second would be Dan Kennedy, right? He's very aggressive in that same regard. Perhaps like Ben-Settle learned from him, and a lot of people, huge respect to those guys because I've learned most of the copy from those guys.
Yeah.
However, I come from more of a caring standpoint rather than very controversial. And while like I will use that language when it comes to a closed cart sequence or something, right, where I'm really getting somebody to like get an action, but I feel like using it top of funnel at times is too aggressive, where it hurts more than it helps. Right, where you're just there's a certain percentage of market you're just driving away, and oftentimes that's okay. Yeah. But like, I don't know, just me personally, maybe because I'm a little different, I'm wired different. Maybe like I wouldn't like having those people talk to me that way, especially up front. Especially when you're like talking to somebody who's accomplished something in life. I'd rather reward them about that than tell them you suck.
Sure.
If you haven't hit $100 million or whatever, right? And because at the end of the day, my job as a copywriter is to, can I gain your trust?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're in the market right now. Like those stuff may have worked previously, but right now I believe trust marketing works better than aggressive marketing. And while both may be successful, I think long term, in looking at the lifetime value of a customer or a client, I think I can make more through trust copywriting rather than aggressive copywriting.
Right. Yeah, it's almost like you need the controversy to get attention sometimes. That's what people build brands around, because it gets attention. Right. I mean, I'm thinking of like Andrew Tate's of the world or whatever, where it's just like constantly like negative, whatever. I mean, even the
Yeah.
politicians of the world now, dude, where
Yeah.
it's just like, hey, everybody that disagrees with me is dumb and deserves to die, right? But like on the other side of things, what you're saying, I think, is true for actually building trust. It's like it might not be the go-to-market strategy that gets the most attention,
Right.
but it gets the right attention.
Right.
Yeah, I
And
totally
I
agree
don't
with
know.
you.
Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But
I don't
and
I don't think
maybe.
you can be wrong if it's an issue of morality. Like,
Hmm.
you know what I mean? Like to me, I believe that if you draw a line in the sand and say like, hey, here's the line that I'm not willing to cross, good things will
Yeah.
happen, because you're essentially just deciding who you are, and the people who are like you will find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's just one of the things that happens. Okay, second rapid fire question. Tell me this: if a copywriter wants to become like you, or get as successful as you are, or work with some of the names that you've been able to work with, but do it in half the time, what would you tell them to do?
So there's a few questions there. A is the skill set of becoming good, and then B is getting access to the people like I work with.
Yep.
Oftentimes in the copywriting world, I will say most copywriters are lazy. That's just hands down true. I don't care what you say. You are lazy. If you can just put in the work, and when I say work, just like spend 6 hours a day. Don't even do 8. Spend 6 hours. Do half as work, but do as consistently as much as possible. You will become a great writer. Most
What would that
copywriters.
work look like? Actually writing?
So, yeah. Oh, 100%. 100%.
Yeah.
You're not a copywriter if you don't write. Like, hello. And you're not a copywriter if you've never launched an offer, right? And what I would recommend, there's two things. A, launch your own offer, 100%, whatever it is, right? Like, see how well you write for yourself, because at the end of the day, when you're spending your own money, you'll take it seriously.
For
Because
sure.
when you're writing for somebody else's, it's their money, I don't care, right? But when you make your own offers, it's cool. And so try that. Some people, like, the copywriting has become this thing where it's like it's you start and you can go get clients and whatnot, and people teach that a lot. Okay, amazing, right? So it's like, but I'm willing to argue that most copywriters have not read 10 copywriting books, right? So like, so it's like they haven't read the Ogilvy's, the Claude Hopkins, the Dan Kennedys of the world. Like, they need to go read those, right? Like, they're the basics, bare bones of like just structuring copy and thinking not about you or the client, but thinking about the customer and the levels of awareness and all that. Like, those are just basic. And then you have like the small like frameworks that you can learn from them. And then the other end of the question is like, how do you land those clients? It's reach out. Most of you are too scared to reach out to the big guys, or you're just not doing enough. You're not creating content. And I personally hate creating content, by the way. So it's like, I don't. But what I do is I do reach out. Or who do I know that knows that person, right? So, for example, the way I landed Russell Brunson was I DM'd him on Facebook and said, "Hey, this page can be better. Here's what I would change. What are your thoughts?" And he responded, "Well, I've been looking for a copywriter. Hey, and that's
crazy.
That's right crazy. Then, like, it's insane. And then from there, like, the rest is history, because once you land that, it trickles on the next person, It's snowball effect, right? So it's like you actually, there's the confidence of whether or not you can write, and you only learn that through writing, and you write every day. I write every single day.
Yep.
Even if it's 20 minutes a day, I still write. Yep. Right? And like, if you have your own business or somebody, like, just spend 20 minutes when you wake up, go grab a coffee or whatever, and just go write. Yep. And it can be a blog post. It could be something simple. It could be a YouTube video. It could be an email. Twitter. It could be whatever, right? But just write. It'll get your brain thinking. And over time, your first 20 pieces may suck, but go do that. Study the greats. I think that's huge.
Yeah.
It's easier now.
Break into some circle that's connected.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think mentors often help a lot. Like, when I was writing at ClickFunnels, there's two other guys that were there that were, I would say, like, S-tier copywriters that taught me a lot. So huge shout out to them.
I mean, like, isn't it true? Like, for me, at least, it's been true of like getting in a room where you're not the one who's good, right? And just like
100%,
and double the output of the one who's good. Just like watch
that
him
is the secret.
What he's doing. Yeah.
Like, even they know I'll work them any day, even till today, and they're often surprised. Right. Yeah. And then I'm like, hey, what do you think? Like, asking questions. And oftentimes what I used to do is, like, I used to write copy I used to send it them because they used to edit it and chief my copy.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, I'd go back and I'm like, you know how you can on Google Docs you can see version history, right? You can see what changes they made. So I'm like, why did they do that? Like I would start like think of like why did they do that? Why like it's just a smaller and like when I told them like, hey, here like over time they saw me get really, really good. And they're like, what are you doing? Because they often don't see somebody learn that quick. I'm like, oh, it's because I went version history and like just started dissecting what you changes every single minute. I'm like, okay, this was a change in this verb and this term and this thing. And this is the close and this writing and this paragraph. And the way you wrote it was a little different. And over time, like that started building up to the point where like now I'm just writing copy. I send it to them and they're like, it's perfect. Right. Yeah. So like now it's like, and then like, okay, so that's one aspect of it. The second aspect of it is, can I see the numbers? If you're a copywriter, if you're upcoming, go look at the numbers. The numbers matter. Yep. Seeing how well your copy is doing matters.
And learn how to interpret the data too, right? Yeah. Like, because so many times people who are creative or linguistic, even they're like, I'm not a math person. I don't want to look at like, but dude, you have to understand trend lines. You have to understand the analytics side, like what's actually happening downstream and how your copy affects it. Otherwise, you're just writing stuff you like, and no offense, but the stuff you like probably isn't what the audience likes, right?
True. Well, depends.
Depends on if you're selling to a person like yourself.
Yeah. So
most likely.
Because I've written about Batmans and emails and superheroes, and I'm very fascinated by those guys because I think storytelling and copy is one of the most fascinating thing in the world.
Yeah.
I think character development and how can I make my clients more of a fictional character as much as possible in emails is very fascinating to me. I think Stan Lee has done a tremendous job developing these heroes that have been around for over 100+ years. Like that is a story you should read and learn how he did it. Like I think any copywriter has any interested, like that's a huge interest to me at least.
Dude, that's fascinating. Do you read fiction?
Oh, all the time.
Yeah, me too. I like it's kind of like half the people I talk to in the marketing space don't read, and I'm confused by it. I read a lot of fiction. I'm curious, like if you have like a top 5 list or like just a list of fiction books that you think have helped you understand storytelling or like at least get the creativity.
So, I'm a huge into comics. So like go back to the original Batman series, the Spider-Man series. Like I'm so like you guys can go get them. They're all public. I'm so fascinated by how these characters are built, and they always have flaws. I'm a huge fan of anime.
Okay.
Because there's millions of people watch anime, but the storytelling around it is huge.
Yeah. I got into Dragon Ball Z. That's about as far as I got growing up as a kid. We'd get off the school bus and sprint to the TV because it would be like last time on Dragon Ball Z.
Yeah.
My dad called it the stand around and talk show because it's just like dialogue half the time, you know?
Yeah, no, it's but it was great character development.
It is, man. It really is. Yeah. I mean, I remember them to this day, you know?
100%. And I think that's the crazy part. Look at the character development. Look at the way how they capture attention. Look at the way how they build the story around one character, and then they have other characters and how they come into play. And like the character every single character has a flaw. They go through this like crazy, like insane period of training, and they suffer and this and that. And like part of it is life is like that oftentimes. And I'm going to start getting into philosophy now. If anything, like
no, dude, it's good. It's good. I agree, man. I think reading fiction can help you be a better writer, but also I think it just spurs creativity. It's like, you know, you have, if you're writing daily, nonfiction works even, you still need something to pull from creatively because otherwise you'll find yourself in a rut. And I think like, for me at least, like when I'm reading fiction, I'm noticing how much time are they dedicating to like building context? How much time are they talking about what's actually happening, the action, or, you know, the before and after state? How much dialogue do they include? Because like at the end of the day, when something sucks you in and you're reading it, like I'll read 1,400 page books, but like it's because it's paced well. And a lot of times when people are writing copy, they don't fully understand how to pace it out. Like they'll spend too much time building the problem up. They'll spend too much time on certain areas that people don't like to read because it's just what they want to write. But it's like when you read fiction and you kind of start to feel the storytelling aspect, you realize that every story is basically just a moment in time in a before state and an after state, right? It's like,
Yep.
that's
Yep.
it, transformation. And so like you have to start thinking about how you write your copy around that too. So I agree with you, dude. I could nerd out on that all day. There's a really good book. I think it's called Storyworthy that I read. I want to say it's by a guy named Matthew Dix or something. Anyways, he's like an impromptu speaker. He just goes up on stages and like tells stories. So he'll tell like, he basically teaches you how to turn your life into stories. And one of the key things he talks about is how like every story is not like a sprawling thing. It's not like, what did you do on vacation? Right? No one cares about that. No one cares about what you did on vacation. What they care about is, how did you transform? What was the before state and the after state? Right? Like, and how can they relate to that? And so for me, it's like thinking about fiction and copy in that sort of world has helped me be a better storyteller as well, which just relates to better copy, you know?
No, I love it. No, I love it. It's I'm really fascinated about the lead. So if you ever read Great Leads, so it's like, it's always been about like, how can I make the intro as intriguing as possible? Right. So it's like, because the rest of the story doesn't matter if they don't get through the lead, right? So it's like, it's kind of like the hooks. Yeah. So it's like that alone fascinates me a lot.
Dude, songs are another really good example of this. If you just listen, me and Ethan were nerding out about this the other day, but like, if you don't listen to the first 30 seconds of a song, you're never going to make it to the chorus, right? So if you look at like the structure of verse 1 in a song, you'll start to learn a lot about capturing attention as well, because it's like, if you make it through verse 1, you're listening to the whole song. If you don't, you're skipping, you know?
One thing I think about songs and how they relate to webinars, it's the rhythm. It's like, does it flow to the end, right? Because like, if it's a huge break in between where like, I'm like, oh, I'm out of the lull, done, right? Like, you just killed it. So at times I'm like, can I just watch this through all the way through without ever having to think about anything else? Right. So it's like, it's
dude, I think Mr. Beast could write a pretty crazy webinar.
100, dude.
You know what I mean? I would love to see Mr. Beast try his hand in a webinar. You watch one of those videos and you're like, okay, so this is how it should be done, you know?
I mean, nowadays, like, he's like very like, you can break down his videos really easily, right? So it's like, you could do that. Oftentimes, we've tested that in webinars. They don't necessarily work that well. They're good for entertainment value, but I don't think they convert better.
They're good for TikTok audience.
Yeah. So, so we've tested that like every 2 seconds or every 3 seconds, switch
frame. Yeah.
I've tested it. It hasn't worked. Maybe I've done it wrong or something, but
you just got to sell chocolate bars and it would probably work, dude.
Oh, I shouldn't be selling $2,000 stuff.
Yeah.
Or $5,000 stuff. Yeah.
Well, dope. All right, Konain, appreciate you taking the time, dude. This has been a really fun conversation. I learned a lot about how you think about copy. Here's what I'll say. If you guys need webinar help, I'll tell you from behind the scenes, the guys who know what they're doing and the guys who refer me names for big brands, Konain's name is always in the mix. So I'll say, if you need webinar help, email help, copy help, this guy is definitely a stud. I'll put contact info wherever on the YouTube video for his socials, and you can contact him there. But dude, appreciate you just nerding out, kind of like sharing some of the secrets behind the scenes of what you see work. I think especially the email stuff was really helpful too. And it's been fun, dude. Hopefully we can do it again.
No. Yeah, for sure. Dude, no, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. And thank you to the people who even got to this point. So hopefully they were not bored.
Rock stars, the real ones, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah, no, it's their time that counts.
That's right.
So it's like, if they got value out of it, then that's the best part.
That's right, dude. That's right. All right, we'll end it here. Peace.
Sweet.
Peace.